Welcome to Text LegeAlert. The House Public Education Committee is set to debate House Bill 3, which creates education savings accounts for parents. Supporters say that the bill will give parents new options to determine the best education for their child, and opponents say that it will defund public education. Here with me to sift through all the facts and the fiction is George Borrego, Policy Director for K-12 Education at the Texas Public Policy Foundation. Thanks for being here, George.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Okay, just at the top, take us through the key provisions of the bill. What does HB 3 do?
Yeah, HB 3 creates the largest Day 1 program for a school choice program in the country. It funds students at over $10,000 and ties that to the average funding in Texas. It also has the most expansive list of eligible providers for educational goods in the country and has the strongest legal protections in the country.
So these accounts that'll have over $10,000 in it, how does it work? Do parents have access to this account, or how is it structured?
Yeah, so the account is essentially funded with a separate pot of money from that the legislature is appropriating for, and the comptroller. The Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts, basically the accountant for the state, will hold these funds in escrow for students, so that when they identify different educational expenses that their parents want to pursue, they're able to purchase it, but they never have access to those dollars themselves.
And unlike a voucher, these resources can be used for a number of different educational expenses. What things other than tuition can the ESA be used for?
Well, ESAs can be used for things like textbooks, uniforms, transportation to and from different educational service providers, hardware, different kinds of therapies, especially if you are a special needs child, tutoring services, and a host of other educational related expenses.
Now, HB 3 is the companion bill for SB 2, which has already been voted out of the Senate. But there are some key differences. So what are the big changes in HB 3?
Absolutely. So the one I want to highlight first is that the House actually strengthened the legal protections that are in the bill for the Senate. So the Senate already had the strongest legal protections in the country. This actually goes one step further and even strengthens it even more so, providing even more autonomy for program participants, their family, and for private schools. A second difference is that the Senate version of the bill had it funded at $10,000 per student for a general education student. This HB 3, this new bill, now ties that funding to the average 85% of the average funding that a public school student receives. And so that would be currently about $10,500-ish.
Both the Senate bill and the House bill appropriate $1 billion for this program. Some look at that and say, well, that's defunding public education because that's money that they could put back into the public education system. What's your response to that?
Well, that's absolutely a very misleading claim. That would be like if you claim that building a new hospital in Frio County, Texas, is somehow defunding public education because that took dollars amount that they could have appropriated to the foundation school program. This is a separate pot that comes from extra resources that the state has. Our state public education funding stays whole and is not affected by this new program.
So does HB 3 cut any money from the public education budget?
Not at all. And in fact, it will actually increase some of the per student funding that school districts will receive, because there are many district-based allotments like the teacher incentive allotments or the small and mid-sized allotments that will remain with the district.
Another concern is, how do taxpayers know that if these tax dollars are going to private schools, that the private schools will be held accountable, that they will in fact be delivering a quality education for what the taxpayers are spending?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, they have the ultimate accountability, which is the accountability of the parent. Every parent wants what's best for their child, and they are the ultimate source of accountability. Second, every private school that receives a full ESA amount will have to be accredited under the language of the bill. And the accreditation process is a very thorough process that takes between 5 and 6 years of vetting the educational quality of the private school before they actually give that stamp of accreditation.
Thank you, George. We'll keep an eye on that debate.
Thank you.